Hi everyone, welcome to my new live series that I've started. It is round 2 of Live with a Professional, which is really, really exciting that I've started this live. I am doing this as a sort of new way to make skills. For anybody that is new, welcome, and to my previous followers, hello. I'm Nia Harris. I'm a student athlete at Northwestern University. I am studying journalism and design. And a part of my journalism major, I was supposed to be in London 2 weeks ago, which I had mentioned on my live beforehand. But since the coronavirus, I wasn't able to go. And so I decided to create this live series to talk to professionals and people that were successful in order to offer advice to my followers and people like me and people like you. And I first interviewed Marissa Vigiano, who's a professional women's soccer athlete, and I'll be posting that video on my IGTV. And today I'm actually have the pleasure to interview Miss Talia Richman, who is a model and an influencer. She's really cool. She's funny. At least I think she's really funny. And she's inspiring. And without further ado, if Talia would request to join, we can get started. Talia, hi.
Sorry, the
No, you're
technical.
so fine. Hi, welcome.
I actually haven't hello.
Hi, how are you?
What's up?
I know that you live in New York, but I've heard that you left the city now. Where are you located now?
At the moment I'm in Orlando. I have an aunt slash godmother that lives here, so I'm just here like while this whole corona thing is going on. Because I just wanted to like be with some family and quarantine here, and it's much nicer than my
Is the weather been good? Has it been nice
yeah.
with your family?
It's been so nice, and like just nice to see my family. The weather, it's so hot here, and like there's way more space. I'm in nature and stuff, which is much better than everything is really bad in New York right now, so it's a little scary. But yeah, I guess I'm just here for I don't know how long. It's kind of crazy, like the whole corona obviously has shut down everything, so there's obviously no modeling jobs on right now. It's not essential, so
Yeah, I was actually wondering how the modeling industry is kind of stopping right now because of the whole coronavirus, and you can't have the same person shoots.
yeah, there's definitely no shoots or anything. I think like the whole fashion industry has definitely come to a big halt.
Okay, let's dive in to your modeling industry. When did you decide to start modeling? Was it something that you always wanted to do, or was it random? How did it come about?
Well, I did modeling when I was like a kid, like kid modeling when I was about 6 years old, I think. I was like really painfully shy as a child, and I think also my parents thought it would sort of help with my confidence. So they put me into like modeling classes, and that was just whatever. But then again, when I was growing up, people always told me that I should do modeling, but I don't know, it never really interested me at the time until I remember I was 13 years old and I was in Brisbane in Australia, and I really Apple Mac computers just came out, and I really wanted a MacBook. And I remember my dad being like, if you did modeling like everyone told you, you could probably earn some like pocket money and be able to buy this computer. And I was a bit hesitant, but I was like, okay, maybe I could do like one job or something and make enough money to buy this computer. Because I don't know why. It's not that I don't know. I just like never thought to do it. I was 13. I don't know what I was wanting to do at the time. But then I remember like emailing pictures to an agency in my local area, and they wanted to meet me. And so then I went into the agency and met them and stuff, and they wanted to sign me. And I was 13, and I'm sorry, my dog is like running around like crazy. And they wanted to sign me and stuff. And again, I was kind of like, I just wanted to do enough jobs so I could make this money to get this computer. And then I was like, I'm going to quit, because I don't know why. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. I was so shy as a child, so I think it just wasn't something that I could see myself doing. And then I guess I just started getting into it, and I'm obviously still doing it. I didn't quit. I got the computer, but I'm still doing it. But I also remember, like, I didn't even tell any of my friends when I first started that I like went and signed with an agency or anything. I was so shy. I didn't tell anyone. And then when I was like 15 or 16, work started picking up a bit more for me. Like when I was young, and 13, I couldn't really do much because I was so young. And I also looked a lot older at the time. So it was like hard for me to do jobs like for kids because I looked older, but then I wasn't old enough to do older people kind of jobs. So then I was like 15 or 16, and I sometimes would like have to nip out of school to like go to a casting or something, but school was like always my priority. So I didn't want to miss too much school. But if I had to leave, I remember always like pretending I had to go to like the doctor or like the dentist or something because I had to like sign out at school. And then as work like just started picking up, I was having to duck out more frequently. And I remember thinking like my school probably thought I was seriously like had something wrong. So I was like, yeah, back at the chiropractor, you know, that back issue. Like I was totally fine. And then I remember I did a job for like this big sportswear brand in Australia called Lorna Jane. And then it was kind of like these posters all over these shops and stuff, and all on Facebook and everything. And then suddenly everyone at my school and everyone I knew started seeing these pictures and was like, whoa, Talia, like, what the hell? Like, you're a model. And I was just so shy about it. I didn't want anyone to know. But then obviously I started doing more stuff like that I realized I couldn't hide it. And so I sort of embraced it. But everyone was really supportive and stuff. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it. It's like kind of, yeah,
No,
always been something.
that's awesome. That's like a great start. I would never have guessed that you started
Yeah,
kind of dragging you a little bit, saying like, if you want that laptop, like, why don't you join that? And it's such an interesting,
yeah, I guess so.
and it, an interesting idea that your parents thought like, oh, my daughter's shy. Let me put her in an industry that you can't be shy. Like you have to own your stuff. And do you think
Yeah,
modeling has helped you become more confident, or have you been able to become like a different person or in front of the camera? How has it worked?
yeah, definitely. I think that's like the whole, like a big part of the job is you are becoming a different person in front of the camera. Like you really are kind of performing and transforming. Basically, people are, you know, making you up with this hair and makeup to be something else. And, you know, you have to portray a certain image and stuff that they want from the shoot. So it's interesting. I think it did help with my confidence from when I started because I guess I was just so painfully shy. Like my parents were trying to put me into, I did like acting classes and stuff, just like all these different kind of classes for confidence stuff. But it also, you know, comes with sort of the nature of the industry where there is a lot of, um, you know, comparison and stuff, and it can create a lot of insecurities, which can ultimately sort of make you a bit, you know, insecure and shy about yourself still. So yeah, it's kind of like both. But for me, I guess, I mean, I have experienced both ends, but yeah, definitely when I'm like at a shoot or something, I'm sort of like portraying like a different character or something, and so I feel like I have to, you know, really perform. And then yeah, I guess I have learnt to do that more so through modeling, and I would have been more shy if I hadn't have had a job where I was like I had to be performing in front of like this whole team of people all the time.
I mean, thinking about performing is such an amazing phrase because it is performing. You're in front of people and you're posing and things like that. And
Yeah.
actually, on posing, so when you first started modeling, so I've been around model shoots before, and I've noticed that new models have a hard time posing. And did you have a hard time posing when you first started? Like, how good already? How have you learned to find the right
Um,
sequence?
I don't know. Well, I guess when I first started modeling, I was doing like these classes. So I did sort of like a class that kind of taught me some of the basic poses, I guess. So I knew that, but usually like the photographers and stuff on set are really good with providing direction, like kind of tell you the kind of thing they want. And I guess I've always been a good listener. That's what people would tell me as well. Like the feedback that I'd get, that I took direction really well. So I was just listening to what they were saying, and then um, yeah, you just sort of like catch on. Or if there's other models on set, just like watching them. Yeah, I never really like struggled. I guess I was lucky I did these classes.
Which always
But
pays because you have
what was
great.
that?
It pays off. You have great photos, and you've got stuff in that. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that you went to Milan, Italy, before you went to New York, which is Milan is like the fashion capital of the world. Fantastic. How was the
Yeah.
experience? Why? What was it like?
I remember in when my modeling started picking up when I was still in high school, when I was like 15 or 16, I had an agency from Milan reach out wanting to sign me and like wanting me to go over there and work and stuff. But high school was always like my top priority. Like I always wanted to finish school before I did anything, any traveling or modeling full time or anything. So I was always pushing it off until I finished school. And so then when I finished school, I sort of had promised my agency that I would go try Milan first, like that kind of market. So I remember it was literally like the day after my 18th birthday, and I went to Milan, like the other side of the world from Australia, basically. I was traveling with a girl from my agency who I kind of knew, so like that was good. But it was still like, yeah, it was really overwhelming just going to a foreign city. And that was my first time really like living alone. Everything was basically the opposite of where I was from. And I mean, they speak a foreign language, so obviously that's just an additional like challenge. And it was my first time doing modeling full time, so work was just a lot more intense. It was just a lot more serious than some of the little things I'd done in Australia. And I was by myself again, like when I was younger. Well, not so much when I was like 16, 17, but when I first started modeling, like my mum would come to some of my jobs and just sit there with me. So it was a big thing. It was pretty scary, but I was excited, I think. I was 18 and I just finished school and I was excited to travel. And it was really cool, like just seeing the world. And I met some of the best people there. I actually managed to find a lot of Australians there. And so I sort of like clung with them. And yeah, some of them are like still my best friends today. So like that's really cool. So yeah, I did that first. I was there for like 3 months, and then I went to New York for like 3 months because I had also signed with an agency there. So I was kind of just trying both markets first. That's usually what people do in modeling when you first start. You travel to a few different markets, I call it, like different places, and try it out. And usually, sometimes like your certain look might fit a different market better than other markets. So people sort of travel and try different places to work and see what works best for them. So yeah, it was Milan, then it was New York.
What are the difference between Milan and New York markets?
Um, Milan was very high fashion, is what they sort of call it, which is a lot of those big high fashion brands. Obviously, it and New York, I feel like has a bit more. I mean, there is really high fashion stuff in New York as well, but there's more of the commercial work there. I found, for me anyway, I was working better in New York than I was in Milan because I guess people say that I suit the more commercial kind of look, which is like a more advertising than like say, runway shows and Vogue and like magazines and stuff like that. It's a lot more like advertising, yeah.
And were you in any shows?
I actually when I first came to New York that first time after Milan, I did do a season of Fashion Week, and I was in like quite a few shows, like kind of some random brands. And it was fun at the time, but it was very intense. Like you're getting sent to, and this was then my first time in New York. I was 18. I didn't know anyone at all in America, in New York. Um, and it was really, that was more overwhelming than Milan, I found, because it was just like even more of a big city. Obviously it was like New York City, it's like so famous and stuff, so opposite to where I was from. And yeah, going to these like fashion week castings, it's always like a really busy time for modeling. And sorry, I just saw my friend commented something. One of the shows, she said, show us my Tom Brown picture. Like, you do some weird shows. One of these shows she's talking about, I was dressed as a clown. They dressed us up as like scary clowns. It was an interesting look. So, but yeah, you're running around to like sometimes like 10, 15 castings a day, which is like an audition kind of, all over the city. And you just like nonstop going from place to place. And then there's like hundreds of girls there and you're waiting like an hour or something just to like be seen for a couple seconds. And then you have to rush off to your, next casting or whatever. And then you have like a show in between. And then it's just like, there's a lot going on. It's very high energy and stuff, which I found it was fun. Sort of thriving off that energy. But some of these girls that do that all the time, I see how that is very draining.
Wow.
But it was a good experience. But I haven't done it since then. I sort of stuck with the more commercial stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know it was so intense, but it makes sense. It's crazy.
Yeah, I guess people don't see like the behind the scenes. Like, and behind the scenes at the shows is also like crazy. It's like, the models look so calm and collected when they're like walking down the runway, and then as soon as they sort of like get backstage, they're quickly like sprinting to their like changing section and ripping the clothes off and putting their next outfit on to quickly like get out for like the second look. And there's like a lot of people backstage, all the people helping you like change, or the creative directors and stuff, a lot of people yelling like, Talia, here, move. It's like very stressful. But yeah.
What were the photo shoots like in New York? Like your first few weeks of photo shoots? How did
My first few, when I got there, it was very different again to what I was used to in Australia. I remember I felt like it was a lot more professional. Or like remember from the thing that stood out to me the most when I first was shooting in New York was like how put together the day was with like the catering. I guess that's what I was like interested by. Like such amazing like spreads of the breakfast and lunch and everything. Everything was like structured. It was like, okay, 1 p.m. everyone sits down. We have this like amazing lunch and stuff. I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, it was just like very structured. And yeah, I think Australia is just like a bit more relaxed. But obviously, like New York is a bit more ahead of the time as well with modeling and everything. It is like sort of the main place where all the models around the world try to make it, I guess. It's like, yeah. So it is a bit ahead of the other places.
you're doing so many girls and men's dreams today, like being in New York and modeling. That is so cool and fun. And what are I saw photo shoots of you and you posing. What is it like during casting? Tell me about like how it works because I don't know much about what castings are like. So what is like the day?
Well, yeah, if I'm not working and I just have castings or something that day, a casting is basically like an audition. So main, like for example, a brand might be trying to find a model for their upcoming shoot, and so they email a bunch of the agencies, and the agencies send a bunch of their girls to the casting. And I mean, each casting is different, really, but say one where there's like a lot of girls, you go and you have your portfolio, like your book with all your pictures in it, and like your comp cards. It's basically like your business card. It kind of has your picture on it and says your measurements and your contact details and stuff. And you go and you line up with the other people, and usually, I mean, everything's different, like I said, but some where the people I've found, especially when I first got to New York, were like quite intimidating. These casting directors that are casting for the job, sort of like all sitting at a table or something, and you go and meet them, and then you sort of hand them your book and they look through it. And if they like you, sometimes they'll be like, okay, can you try one of these outfits on? So I guess they see how you look. And then they might take pictures of you in it. And then they're just like, okay, cool, thanks. Like, and you kind of just wait to hear from your agency if you booked it or not. But sometimes this is like, I guess what is like a bit annoying, that like some castings you go to and these casting director people are literally like, you might have traveled like an hour to get to this place or something as well, and you can, you know, you get all dressed up, like try to look all professional and everything, and you get there and they literally, you can just sometimes tell they already don't like you or are not interested, and you sort of hand them your book and they might like flick through 2 or 3 pages and just snap it closed and be like, thank you, bye, like next. And it's just like, okay, cool. Cool. But I mean, that's what it is. And like at first, like that was hard for me to wrap my head around, because again, being in New York, everyone seemed so much more professional, and that's kind of like that New York vibe anyway. Everyone's like very direct, everyone knows what they want, like, you know, they're not really messing around. And so I was like, oh, you know, if people would just sort of like, okay, thanks, bye. But a big thing that like a lot of people had told me is that you can't take everything personally, and you have to just sort of see it as like, you know, maybe you're not exactly what they were looking for that particular job at this time, because otherwise then it can really get to you mentally. You know, you're like, why don't they like me? Why am I not pretty enough or something like that, you know? But everyone's different. But generally the gist is you go and show them your book, you might try something on, take pictures, and then that's kind of it. And then you wait for a call.
And you said you come in professionally. Like, what do you wear to a or you just try to figure out based on the brand?
Well, yeah, also I guess it depends like what kind of brand it is. You might sort of switch look a bit more to cater towards that. But generally they want to see you in something pretty plain, like just like a white t-shirt and black jeans or something. And they used to tell me like, oh, when I first started modeling, it was that you always had to bring a pair of high heels with you in your bag to like change into. But I think it's a bit more lax these days. Like you don't necessarily need to do that. But usually for casting, I'll try wear like, yeah, something form fitting somewhat, so they can sort of see a bit of the shape of your body, obviously. Just pretty natural makeup, nothing like a winged eyeliner and red lipstick or anything. Just, I guess, you know, some mascara, and that's it really, like concealer. And your hair just like pretty natural, like everything just mostly natural and pretty, yeah, neutral kind of tones, nothing crazy, no like crazy prints and stuff. But that's what people would tell me in the beginning. But these days I feel like, again, sometimes some clients want to see a bit more of like your personal style. So, and I kind of do that a bit more, like kind of my own personal style. I don't really go with the whole like plain everything. A lot of people have told me as well that usually when I go to castings, I have to like tone down my jewelry, because they kind of want to see you as like a blank canvas, so they can imagine what you would be like at the shoots and stuff, and in the clothes and everything. So sometimes I don't go with like my full personal style, but I just tone it down a bit. Yeah, so I get an idea.
That's so interesting. I mean, I'd be frustrated to be like, I have to change my style in order to fit this brand, and that obviously makes sense. It goes with the brand. Okay, so Talia, I'm saying this to the viewers, Talia gave me a brand that she worked for, and they are impressive, like super impressive. Like, just listen to her resume. Talia has worked for, I'm reading out a list: Oscar de la Renta, L'Oreal, Almay Cosmetics, GQ, Kith, Armani, DKNY, Juicy Couture, and Yes. I don't know about you guys, but that is super superb. And I posted a video about your Oscar de la Renta like photo shoot. You were literally on the shop by yourself and like gorgeous dress. How was that like, having all those eyes on you and taking photos? That's a huge campaign.
Yeah, that was definitely like probably the coolest job I've done. Like my biggest highlight that I'm really proud of myself for. It was for like an Oscar de la Renta fragrance campaign, and it was actually the last one that he did before he died. So like, which is R.I.P. But you know, I felt pretty honored to be doing that. It was really cool. It was like, yeah, it was on this rooftop, and it was a beautiful like backdrop of the New York City skyline. And we actually shot into the night, like until like 10 p.m. So then it was dark, and it was just like all the lights and stuff. It was really beautiful, and yeah, it was really cool. Like really creative people, and yeah, the dress was beautiful. It was really just the one dress and like something, maybe like two looks. So I wasn't like changing a bunch or anything. It was like two pictures. So like hours of work for just like two pictures, really. But yeah, it was just really cool and amazing to work with such a big brand like that. Yeah.
I made you said that you change made me think of when you're like out and like that, do you have to just change in front of everybody and you're like almost naked, or do they
Yeah, sometimes like not that one because I remember like it was a rooftop, so then I could like we go down to the level below where we sort of prepared and like did the hair and makeup and stuff. But a lot of the times when you are on like a location shoot, like at a beach or something, it is kind of like you have to do a lot of makeshift change rooms. Like, you know, maybe some people wrap some towels around you and you kind of like shimmy out of your outfit and stuff. So yeah, it's you kind of just have to make everything work, really. There's definitely a lot of people looking at you at all the time. So yeah.
Okay, so what are how bikini photo shoots? Because if someone were to stay on a beach in a bikini and pose for them, I literally couldn't do it, and I would be so uncomfortable. Like, do you just get used to it? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, I guess you just have to get used to it. Like, obviously, in the beginning, when I started modeling, again, one of my first, probably my first three shoots, one of them was like for a swimwear brand. I was probably like, I think I was 13 or no, I was probably like 14 or 15.
Wow.
And yeah, I was nervous. Like, I had no idea. But it wasn't a huge team that was there. So it wasn't like there was 10, 20 people staring at me. There were only a couple people. And the people, like, you meet some really lovely people in the industry as well. Like, they usually always try to make, you know, the model feel comfortable, which is really important because that reflects in, like, the pictures and stuff, obviously. So people, yeah, just when the photographer and the stylist and stuff are making you feel comfortable, it really puts you at ease. But definitely just you have to get used to it. There's definitely nothing normal about like posing like that in front of a lot of people for, you know, just regular people. So I guess you just get used to it. I wasn't used to it in the beginning, obviously, or that comfortable instantly.
Which I
But
mean, sense. You have to get used to the job, and it's awesome that you're more comfortable now.
yeah.
Since
Yeah.
started. I actually have a question that a fan asked, and it is, what advice would you give someone that wants to break into the modeling industry?
Um, right in. Well, don't drop out of high school. I would say stay in school. But if you want to like get into modeling, I would begin with like looking around your local, if there was like local modeling agencies in your area and stuff, and you sort of begin like take some pictures, get your mom or a friend or whatever to take some pictures of you against like a white wall, just in like a black tank top or something, like pretty natural makeup and stuff, just like really simple pictures, and you kind of just email them. A lot of these agencies on the website and stuff, that's how a lot of people are found anyway. So they'll probably have a section of like to submit pictures and stuff, and just email a bunch of people, and that's how you sort of get into it. But yeah, I guess like other advice would just be um, try to stay true to yourself as much as possible. I know a lot of people always say like be yourself, but I find that it's hard to say that because the job is basically not being yourself. Like you're constantly dressing up someone else or like doing a crazy different hair and makeup look and stuff. But yeah, just be yourself, and like being confident is really important. And obviously that's hard when the industry is kind of based on how you look, and sometimes you can get lost with like comparing yourself to other people and everything. But a lot of the time people want to book a girl that is more confident as well. And just having like a really good support system is really important. Like I have my best friends from home that have always been there for me, like not just like my modeling friends and my family and everything. It's just like always good because if you get into it, like it can be lonely. You're always traveling and stuff, and yeah, drink a lot of water. I don't, but apparently that's what is good for you.
And I've noticed on your Instagram that you have a well-rounded group of friends, and you do post photos back at school, and all of them are not back at school, sorry, back at home, and not all of them are models. And I love that about you because that's something that's so real and shows that you are a real person. You're not just a pretty.
I mean, I think that's really important. Like, obviously, I have so many different type kind of friends, but I always have my friends from home, from school, and everything. I love like, I don't like always like to be talking about modeling and stuff. You know, like modeling doesn't really define me. Like, I have a lot of other things that I'm interested in as well. So it's like, why not, you know, have friends from all walks of life?
And we're actually going to get into your hobbies and extra things later on, but I wanted to get kind of the serious stuff with modeling because modeling has this perception that it's so glamorous and prestigious and so on, but like there are lows too, and there can't be all highs all the time. Like, what are some lows? I've heard that some models have a hard time with mental health. Is that true? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's definitely a huge part of the industry, and I know it's been like brought up a lot more recently. A lot more people are speaking out these days, like with social media and everything, about their struggles, and it's quite like empowering as well. Like it, yeah, the job is kind of based on how you look. It's kind of a weird thing. Well, these days, the whole industry has changed so much with like diversity in general, body diversity and everything. Um, People like, there's not so much one kind of type standard of beauty, which is great. But there definitely is the pressure to always be a certain way, or like your body look a certain way and stuff. And like, you know, again, if you're not booking jobs, naturally it's going to come to you like, am I not enough? Like, am I not pretty enough? Am I not this? Whatever. Um, and yeah, I guess you're like competing against other girls for a job based on how you look, which is like such a strange concept, I guess. But yeah, like I don't know. That's why I think it's just important to have like a really good support system and everything. And it can be lonely. Like, yeah, it's gonna fuel anxiety and depression. Obviously, people end up getting eating disorders and stuff. There is a lot of that in the industry, which is like really sad. Um, but it's just important to be aware, I guess, and have the right people around you and that kind of thing, so you don't fall into those kind of like lows, I guess. But yeah, it is like it's a difficult industry, I think, with the mental health thing, just mainly because of the pressure of like the way you look all the time, and just weight a lot, like your body image. A lot of people get obsessed with like losing weight and that kind of thing, which then can lead to more dangerous eating disorders and stuff. Um, and yeah, I guess like insecurities, feeling like you're not really enough. Sometimes, your agency do tell you that you have to lose weight or you have to look a certain way and stuff, and it can really get to your head. Which is, yeah, there's a lot to it, I guess. But
What are
it's
some ways that you those difficulties?
well, like I said, definitely having a good support system, like talking to, like when I feel like I've had bad anxiety or something or going through something like that. I've had my friends from home and my family to talk to a lot. Um, I've definitely been through a lot of waves of ups and downs with it. I started like meditating for a while and doing things like that. And then also just finding other hobbies and passions to um, like focus on as well that can take your mind off things, because like modeling doesn't define you. It's not the be all and end all. Um, and yeah, I think just like a lot of people have told me a lot to not take things personally. And so you have to kind of really listen to that, to not think it's always about you. You know, maybe it's just not what they're looking for that job. Because, yeah, you have to just like try and get into your mind that not everything is personal. It's not always about you. It's not that you're not pretty enough or you're not this enough. You know, you have to try and think more like, okay, maybe it just wasn't right for that job. Maybe they were looking for a blonde girl, not a brunette. You know, there's nothing I can do about it. That's fine. Move on to the next one. So that's what I was, yeah, trying to like think more to myself about.
Well,
But yeah,
I love that you've been able to cope with that and have like really honed down on a good support system. That's so important. And
yeah,
like more lighthearted topics now.
yeah,
What
sorry.
are the perks of modeling? Like, what is like the craziest party you've ever been to?
The craziest what?
Party you've ever been to?
Party I've been to. Oh man.
If you remember.
Oh, I guess yeah. We're fortunate enough you get to go to like some pretty cool events and stuff. I don't know. I certain fashion week parties and events are always like really fun. Um, Honestly, I can't really think of something that
I'm
stands
sure
out.
there's so many that they all are just blurred into your mind. What has been your favorite photo shoot or job that you've had? Besides the De La Renta one, because I know you mentioned.
Okay, yeah. Okay, my second favorite job I ever did. This was amazing. So I was like, I can't believe this is a job. I was shooting for this resort, this like 5-star resort in Mauritius, which is this island off South Africa near
Mhm.
like the Seychelles. Um, and basically it was just this beautiful resort, and I was shooting to promote the resort. So like they were like, okay, now this shot we're gonna like drink this wine and pretend you're having a good time. Okay, now this one, eat this sushi and smile. I was like, okay. And this one, they were like, okay, now pretend you're like tanning by the pool and laugh. And I was like, cool. So I was basically, it was like I was actually having my holiday vacation, and they're just taking pictures of it. I just got to do like all the cool activities around the resort, like boat trip and sushi making and wine tasting and all this. So it was really cool because it was so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so fun. I can't imagine. What a perk. That's so awesome. Okay, I have a fun fact about Talia, and tell me if I'm wrong, Talia, but I heard that you have a unique connection with Kissing Booth and Euphoria star Jacob Elordi. How do you know him so well?
Yeah, that's funny. Jacob, well, he's basically like my brother. He's actually my younger brother's best friend um from, you know, growing up. So I guess I've just grown up with him. I've known him for so long. Um yeah, we're really close. Just he's like family. It's really cool to see his journey of success and how amazing he's doing and everything he's achieved, seeing it from the very beginning. So yeah, he's super talented. But yeah, he's basically my brother. Yeah.
You post a lot with him. Do you guys hang out a lot in New York?
If he's in New York, yeah, I'll hang out with him. But he lives in LA. Or if I'm in LA, I'll hang out in there too. Um, or if we're home together, you know, my brother and him and me or his sister and stuff, we'll hang out. Yeah, just like childhood friends.
That's amazing. That's so fun. I love that setting that you guys have both been able to go through each other's like success journey, and you're still
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Okay, I have a few more fan questions. The first one is what workout routine?
My workout routine. It really varies a lot. Especially right now with the quarantine um, thing, it's everything's had to be altered a little bit. I'm trying to do a lot of home workouts. And then I love running outside. I got really into running like a year ago. So I run outside a lot. I usually like to do a lot of classes. I do a lot of like Barry's boot camp kind of classes, or like Orange Theory. Um, I do a lot of Pilates as well, like reformer Pilates. I love that. Um, I don't really like working out alone. I can't force myself to the gym, so that's why I like the classes. But mainly running and running kind of classes, and Pilates is my main thing. But I also just love being outside. Like I like bike riding a lot. I walk my dog a lot. I like walking everywhere. Yeah, I guess I do a lot of outdoor activities like that.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
I mean, this is on the spectrum, but what's the dating experience like in the modeling industry?
Um, I
Like,
mean,
like stereotypes that like models date models or models always date celebrities, but is that always the
no, not at all. No, that's definitely. I mean, just the same as everything else, I guess. Like maybe you'll be around some like more high profile people and like in other jobs, I guess. So there could be a chance you might um like meet someone like that. But otherwise like everything's pretty similar. Everything's the same.
Okay, awesome. I mean, that's great. I love that. Um, okay, what was it like getting Instagram blue check being verified? Like, did you just wake up one day and you had it, or they let you know? How does that come about?
No, I actually met somebody who submitted me to like there's like a fashion portal or
Yeah.
something of Instagram, and you have to be like submitted and approved or something. And I guess based on like work I'd done, then I was verified, but I don't it didn't really like make a difference to anything that I did. So it was I guess it was cool to like see it, but it wasn't like anything crazy.
Yeah, it's just exciting. So many people want to have that check mark, even if they're not.
Yeah, I guess it's a weird thing to like.
Okay, it's about time to kind of start opening it up for questions from the people. So let's.
Oh, that went by really quick.
What?
That went by really quick.
I know it did go by really fast. You like offered so many great questions.
Yeah, sorry, I'm probably rambling on.
No, you're so fine. You're so fine. If anybody has questions, type them up, and we'll pick in so that Talia can answer them. And while I wait, we'll fire those. What are your favorite skincare products?
Actually, yeah, I literally just switched not long ago to this brand of skincare products called Rationale, and they changed my skin, like helped my skin so much. My skin really cleared up, and I really love them. I think they're Australian actually, but yeah, I swear by them. Rationale. I just use like everything they have. There's a lot. It's like a whole 25-step skin process, which is annoying, but I have the time since I'm not doing anything else now. But it's worth it.
Another question I had is how do you edit your Instagram? Some people have asked me that because your Instagram's fantastic. What do you use?
Thanks. I use Visco a lot and Lightroom, and I recently started using an app called Color Tone. I like editing my pictures to like look creative sometimes, like with different like a lot of people will be like, oh my god, like it's a filter. I'm like, yeah, obviously there's a filter on it. Like I like making it look more creative. Sometimes I guess I just mix it up a lot of the time, but I'll make it black and white or like a faded or whatever. But Visco is really good. I always like adding like grain or something on it, the grain feature, because it makes it look a bit more vintage. Yeah, usually Visco and Lightroom.
Speaking of vintage photos, Talia has a side Instagram called Chronicles of Bliss. If you guys didn't know, Talia, do you want to speak on it a little bit about?
Yeah, I do film photography as a little hobby, and I've been doing it for like 7 years now. Especially when I first started traveling, is when I first really got into it. my mom's always been big into film photography, and because my grandpa was really big into it as well. So yeah, I don't know. I remember like I did a job when I first started modeling, and the other model had a film camera too, and she was sort of like snapping some behind the scenes shots, and I thought it was so cool. So I wanted to get into it, and then I was good friends with a photographer at the time, and he kind of taught me a lot as well, my grandpa. And then it was when I was first traveling, so it began. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start this. Like this was in the days of Tumblr. I was like, I'm gonna start this Tumblr and like put all my pictures that I take with my film camera on there so that my mom and dad, my family, and my friends back home can see them. So that was how it started. And then I would also like write a little blurb. It was kind of like a diary, I guess, of like everything I was doing. Um, and yeah, it was cute. And I sort of just like documented it started me like documenting all my travels with it, and then following it with like a little blog. And that was back when Tumblr was a thing. And so, but then Tumblr kind of died. And now, yeah, I've brought it to like another Instagram page. But yeah, I love it. I love taking pictures of other people as well. In like candid moments and stuff, and like really cool architecture, and just traveling so much. Like I see so much and so many cool things. And yeah, I really appreciate like art and like capturing things in a different way. So yeah, it's just always been a hobby of mine.
Well, I can literally see your eyes light up and you get so excited to talk about it. Obviously,
Yeah.
and your eye is so good. I love your actually I love both of your Instagrams. The Chronicles list have such good photos and like even makes me want to do film photos.
Yeah, thank you.
Fun. Actually, somebody asked what your favorite photographer is.
Ah, who's my favorite photographer? I have a few. There's a guy called Andre Jocelyn I really love. I love the Bridie Mac. Her Instagram is like Wolf Cub. Um, yeah, they're like just some recent like film photography, like modern film photographers that I love. But like all time, like I mean the classics like Mario Testino and like Stephen Meisel and stuff like that are obviously amazing. Um, Helmut Newton as well. Yeah, there's a lot of like little random photographers I find on Instagram as well that I just love their work. I'm sorry, like I can't remember them all right now, but um, yeah, just there's so many talented people. So
Do you have any advice to a college kid that wants to get into the fashion industry?
um, I don't know. I guess like I mean I don't know so much about getting into the whole fashion industry itself. If they mean like designing and stuff. I guess just like keep working hard on your designs and maybe like try submit things to people, intern for people, just keep like assisting people. I feel like that's how people learn everything. That's what I've heard a lot of people talk about with styling and like the photographers and hair and makeup artists and stuff that I hear about on set. You know, they're always just like assist as many people as you can and like be on the sets of the shoots and stuff and just get to know everything, just keep learning, and then you're around those kind of people as well. So maybe one day someone might be interested and want to book you for something. Yeah, I don't know. Just keep grinding.
That was great. Okay, somebody else asked, and this is actually going to be our last question because we're going to run out of time. We're going to be kicked off soon. Um, would you work with local? Have you thought about it?
Would I what?
Would you work with local photographers?
Yeah, I guess. Like, I'm not really against working with local photographers. But a lot of the time, if I was to like work with a sort of random photographer or something, I go through my agency and get them to set it up because the agency, you know, they try to protect the models. You don't really know if everyone's legit, you know. So I guess just like safety wise, it's good for your agency to do like a little background check of people, not sending you to like some random murderer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's so fair. Okay, Talia, that's everything that we have for you today. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you good advice and good answers, and now everyone has a little insight into your modeling.
Yeah, I hope that was somewhat informative or helped. So, yeah.
A lot, and I hope everyone enjoyed as well. And I want to thank a lot of people for joining today, and I want to thank Chrissy Malloy for helping this happen. Well, yeah, Chrissy Malloy is one of Talia's really good friends. And
yeah, my best friend, yeah.
I also want to thank a longtime friend of mine that goes way back, Joel Rafter, for also helping out, and to everybody watching. So,
okay, amazing. Thanks, everyone.
Talia, it was so fun. Talk to you soon. Bye,
okay,
everyone.
bye.